There's nothing worse than living in a household full of complainers. So understand whatever wrongs you've done, that does not define you for who you are, because you were given a gift of a new birth today. So grant yourself the peace in knowing that with your birth today, you have all of the ability to live this life the best that you can, regardless of what the world says. Because the world is a pissed off, tantruming child that only wants to see you become part of the drama. And what that does is it ends your life. Removes the telomeres from your chromosomes. Literally, they're like caps on your shoelaces that just get depleted. You are ending your life. Keep that in mind. Don't think just because you started off bad that you can't recover this day. It's got momentum, but that's what the brakes are for. Take a break, pump the brakes on any sort of train of thought that you're entertaining that have to do with negativity, blame, spite, envy, vanity, frustration, and lack of love. And what you'll find is you will recover. Universal subconscious mind, light of light, the candle is here in honor of you. What messages does the One Spirit have for us today? Before I begin, knocking to clear the energy in this space and in your life, you being the querent, the one seeking wisdom, I act as an instrument of God. I surrender myself entirely to Him to benefit the highest good of your heart and your loved ones. What messages does the One Spirit have for today? What messages? Here's one. Let's take it. Options or crossroads. They're all good options. Energy to advance. Decidedly taking a pause in some movement. Clear vision. Lots of energy. What else? Oh, there are two. Abundance. Intellect. Youthful. In this particular case, a feminine figure, perhaps, looking at another who is providing. This individual who's looking isn't saying anything. All part of your consciousness, by the way. All part of the game and all part of what's rolling out on this day. She's an observer. Could be a he. There's no gender in tarot. It's what you imagine. All the cards are equally made and balanced by Pixie Smith. She illustrated these cards over 100 years ago. And in the deck, you will find equal amounts men and women. It's for there to be balance with the deck. So when I talk about a character, this is what comes to my conscious mind through the subconscious. And I see someone in the center of the reading looking at someone who has opulence and abundance that's providing. And you, the querent on the journey, are passing through these energies. And here with the Six of Coins, this is a person of generosity. Scales of balance are here, giving to those who need, at the same time receiving. That's how it flows. This is a reading about money. Oh, wow. Those are constraints here with the Four of Swords, and we saw this yesterday. It just came right out. Let's really give that recognition. What else? What's the last message for today? It's right here. Death of the ego, a struggle. Whatever energy got stirred up yesterday, it's with options, let's just say that. And the possibility of a collaboration, a collective collaboration with a group. This is auspicious with the Three of Coins. We haven't seen this in a while. This is the portal for today, how we enter into this game. So let's move the light slightly, make some room for the portal so that you can see all of this whole spread. Let's start adding some wealth. Wealth to the occasion. What I find is usually the Empress is the last one who wants one because she has all of the opulence in the world. Let's start with the death of the ego. Nice and solid. Doing it with impractical constraints, making the best of what's around. Here's one for the observer. And for this collaboration, starting with the day, seems to want, yeah, everything's moving there. That's solid foundation right there with the Six of Coins. Speaking of solid foundation, right there with the Empress, let's do that. And then our options at the crossroads. And for this part of us that's currently at rest, just bucking a bit and showing one's power and ability. Flexing with the Knight of Wands. Okay, what else? Let's start distributing. Okay. This part of practical constraints helps with the overcoming of the ego, death. By the way, I saw the death card in a dream last night. It was torn up in the deck of cards that I had. It wasn't this deck of cards, it was a paper-based one. And it was torn into multiple pieces. And all I could see with the word of death itself was E-A-T-H. That was it. The D was gone. That was a nice, soft way of the Empress saying, I'm in control here. Right past the Page of Swords, you could see the Page of Swords got rejected. And the Empress just nice and easy took a hold of that. It was beautiful. Easy is how this is showing itself to be right now. Rejected by the Knight. The Knight's like, I can be just like the Empress. I want to be equal with her. I am equal with her. And there spins the Two of Coins. The options on the table still. And then a little bit of a bump here from the Six of Coins leads to Page of Swords. This is aligned right with the Sword of Intellect. And right back it goes. You see how this is with the Six of Coins? As the coins go out, they come back in. Let's take a look at that some more. As they go out, they come back in. And look at that, bumping it back into the Empress's favor. And here we have our collaboration. Something to do with this observer, the silent observer. See? Now we have something to douse with, so let's take this and work it. Everything's down flat, so we're going to have to stab a bit. This is the pathway here in accordance to magnetism. Recognize there is a figure observing, but it's not the one who's in power. The one who's in power, right here, the Empress, has all the abundance and is carrying this wand. It has the heart right here. It's where everything was pointing, is pointing. This individual is not looking at the Knight, and the Knight's not looking at her, but the Page knows both. And this observer right here understands the value of the querent of you. And it's going to happen. It is happening. It's happened. Now, how that happens, the forces of God are in control of that. It's God's plan. For now, let's just read what the Marseille has to say about these cards. This is another 3, by the way, and this is a victory. The Three of Coins, this represents a product. Something's being made, and it's a partnership now. There's a partnership or an alliance that bears fruit. This is the first result of this project, showing itself with a victory underneath. And it is recognition and acknowledgement. So you have recognition and acknowledgement with the Three of Coins. This is your portal for today, and it leads to options. Here with the Two of Coins, you're not going back in step as much as refreshing the possibilities. This also represents duality. I mean, there's duality in all things. The infinity sign represents Ida and Pingala, the caduceus, masculine and feminine, active and passive. You'll see the active with this individual, and the green going around the coins is abundance. And in the background, you see these ships, 2 of them, trying to navigate wavy waters. I mean, this is life. Life oscillates between emotions and actions. So it represents the duality here with the Two of Coins, and it also means you're collaborating, but you're also keeping a distance. So there's a collaboration between the masculine and feminine, the active and passive, but there's a distance between the two. Everything likes distance. Everything likes space. Space is freedom. When you want to offer someone freedom, you just forgive. When you forgive, you offer space. And when you offer space, it feels lovely. And you feel that love, and that lets this card do its magic. So it could be a winding road, like you see in the background, the way oscillations occur in life normally. However, this is recognition and acknowledgement. So just as it's happening here with the 3 of coins in the portal, the recognition and acknowledgement is happening with the 2 of coins as well. And this is financial, because anytime we're dealing with coins here, we're dealing with earth. This is the manifest. This is that which is brought forth in manifest form. And here with the Knight of Wands, we have a change in direction. So whereas there were options here, there is now a change. You're following your urges. You're following your passions. This is a temporary stop, like I said, bucking and taking a look around. You see the pyramids in the background. It's not a serious stop. You still have tons of energy and a desire to move forward. However, this isn't the time. And why is that not the time? There's this hunch. It's just a feeling. It's an intuitive one that someone is out there, some divine presence in the form of the Empress. Someone already knows about it. This is the Page of Swords. This is a youthful figure who's watching and not saying anything. Understands that the Empress is looking exactly for you, but she's just looking in the wrong direction, the opposite direction. You're at a stop, looking at the pyramids. She's sitting down in the middle of the woods with everything waiting. And the Page of Swords in the center of the reading knows all of this, is watching, using intellect in a way that's youthful. The youthful use of intellect is the intellect that likes to debate for no other reason, that likes to win for no other reason than to compete. And competition is the opposite of cooperation. Anyway, that's not the focus right now. The focus here is this major arcana, number 3, represents Jupiter energy. So this energy is with you. It's not about looking for it outside so much as finding it within. That's why we have this immaculate heart right here on display. And in the center of it, green, and surrounding it blue, which is to say, your wealth is procured from within. The Empress is you. It is the wealth that has always existed. You don't need to look for her. So as I said, the Empress represents abundance, growth, productivity, expansion. It's a natural or a human touch within an artificial framework. And this is what you've been looking for when we had the 8 of coins the other day, which is the routine mechanical in need of a human touch. The Empress provides it. Tap into the inner feminine spirit that is just waiting to receive all of your efforts as seeds. She brings forth everything in the Garden of Eden. So the Empress also represents emotional intelligence, this ability to understand that everything that you need is within you, that the Lord is your instant and everlasting supply, meeting all of your needs right now. The Lord is your supply. The Lord is the breath. The Lord is the freedom that you offer yourself and others. The Lord is the service that you provide. The Lord is recognizing the good in all living things and all people as embodiments of this source. This represents protection and care. Tap into the Empress and understand that you are cared for, that you shall not want. This is true motherhood. You offer it to yourself. This is a powerful female figure, a strong feminine identity, much stronger than what's in the center of the deck today. Whenever we're with pages, they're youthful figures that still have a lot to learn, especially in the world of the intellect. And so this is someone who's carrying a sword and trying to seem more intelligent, perhaps, emotionally than she really is or he really is. And so that pretentiousness just kind of comes through. It's a whimsical type of card. And she's looking over at the Empress saying, I want to be like that, but I'm just not there. And there's some envy involved, really. I mean, why wouldn't you be envious with something that you feel you don't have in yourself until you realize it's there, that's been there the entire time? And the more you tap into that truth, the faster it moves and the more real it becomes in your life. But this is a lesson that the Page of Swords still needs to learn because it's a page, you know? It's not a book. What I mean by that is the page is young, represents a prince or a princess that's youthful, still needing to learn a lot of things. And when we're with the swords, we're working with intellect. So the page is learning and preparing for a future challenge, some challenge that is seen as a competition without understanding that there is an opportunity to collaborate. But all the same, preparing for a competition, looking for a compromise between reason and strong desires, which is to say, I want to open my heart, but not really sure how to do that because I have all these obstacles in the way. Still a lot to learn, still developing, hesitating to use one's power, which is to say you've been told all the time that what you think becomes your reality. That truth hasn't really set in yet. It requires life experience. Understanding that you would wish to avoid things, nightmarish situations from occurring in the future. And the way you do that is by having life experience. And you can't really just go out there and say, I'm going to go have life experience today. No, it comes to you. It's attracted to you. Speaking of things being attracted to you and coming to you, here with the 6 of coins, this is expansion of your wealth. Abundance of resources and possible ways to advance. It's all here. It's a positive outlook. It's success. And it's a good balance between stability and movement. Like I said, has to be flowing in and out at the same time, starting here and flowing around. See how there's the scale of balance, and then give some, and then receive some, and then give some, and then receive some. This right hand is giving, this left hand is receiving. Pretty simple. Just have to look at it the way it is. Sometimes that's the biggest challenge. There is no competition. There's no want or need or necessity. All is provided by the source. There's no difference between money and the air you breathe. It's all provided by source. That's the best part. Once you realize you know it's all coming from the same place, it all means the same thing. It's whatever you desire. It's whatever you imagine. Speaking of that, here with the Four of Swords, whatever practical constraints you have, it's just a construction site. Now is the time to make use of your restrictions. So however they are presenting themselves to you right now, see the positive, focus internally, work with the heart in prayer, and you shall bring forth something of great value that is underneath the superficial layers of life in its current presentation. Do not despair. When we look at the Ten of Swords, this Ten of Swords is trying to show us that we've been defeated. And you know, there's nothing better than an intellectual defeat, because it's very hard for the ego to wrap its head around it. And the ego knows now from yesterday's lesson that it is needing to let go, that this is the end of a cycle, that this is the end of your name, your ideologies, your belief systems, all the things that you held on to as your definition of who you are. You're now just observing, for what else is there? It's all done. All that's left in the background is this peace and calm and serenity. And if you look very carefully, you'll see the sun starting to rise. Amongst all of this darkness, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You see it coming through with the reflections. They're slight, but they're there. And the more that you let go of this body and this previous you, it's like tilling the earth of your garden. It prepares the space for new energy to come into your life and bless you with the greatest abundance. This is the only major arcana in the draw for today, and it is a very powerful one to have on your side, to have working from within you outward. No matter what's going on outside of your world, in your world, no matter what people are saying, thinking, doing, this is what sustains you. It's this idea that you have worth and value. Go back to those affirmations by Florence Scovel Shinn. In fact, we will conclude with some words by her. These affirmations originally served as treatments for her clients, and she would assign them to be repeated because there are a few ways that you can bring forth things in the manifest, in the material world. One of which is to pray, but imagining it as real in the now. It's basically the form of meditation. So prayer and meditation is one way. And another way that you can impress the universal subconscious mind and program it to serve you is through repetition. You want to form a habit, fake it till you make it kind of thing. Form a habit with these affirmations. I'll read them to you, and then we're going to conclude for the day. I now draw from the abundance of the spheres my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free. All doors are open. I now release the gold mine within me. I am linked with an endless golden stream of prosperity which comes to me under grace in perfect ways. Goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of abundance forever. My God is a God of plenty, and I now receive all that I desire or require, and more. Let's just reaffirm that. Nothing wrong with placing everything in order for the sake of your wealth and well-being. Seems there's a wanted distance between these three. It's good. Leave them some space. All that is mine by divine right is now released and reaches me in great avalanches of abundance, under grace, in miraculous ways. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways. All channels are free and all doors fly open for my immediate and endless divinely designed supply. My ships come in over a calm sea, under grace, in perfect ways. I give thanks that the millions which are mine by divine right now pour in and pile up under grace in perfect ways. Unexpected doors fly right open, unexpected channels are free, and endless avalanches of abundance are poured out upon me under grace in perfect ways. I spend money under direct inspiration, wisely and fearlessly, knowing my supply is endless and immediate. I am fearless in letting money go out, knowing God is my immediate and endless supply. These are affirmations by Florence Scovel Shinn, New Thought Practitioner. That represents the reading for today. Thanks for being here with me, for your support, for your comments, for your love. And until next time, be well and God bless. I have been asked to give a metaphysical interpretation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, one of Grimm's fairy tales. It is amazing how this picture, a fairy story, swept sophisticated New York and the whole country due to Walt Disney's genius. This fairy tale was supposed to be for children, but men and women have packed the theater. It is because fairy tales come down from the old legends of Persia, India, and Egypt, which are founded on truth. Snow White, the little princess, has a cruel stepmother who is jealous of her. This cruel stepmother idea appears also in Cinderella. Nearly everyone has a cruel stepmother. The cruel stepmother is a negative thought form you have built up in the subconscious. Snow White's cruel stepmother is jealous of her and always keeps her in rags and in the background. All cruel thought forms do this. The cruel stepmother consults her magic mirror every day, saying, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" One day the mirror replies, "Thou, queen, mayest fair and beauteous be, but Snow White is lovelier far than thee." This enrages the queen, so she decides to send Snow White to the forest to be killed by one of her servants. However, the servant's heart melts when Snow White begs for her life, so he leaves her in the woods. The woods are filled with terrifying animals and many pitfalls and dangers. She falls in terror to the ground, and while there, a most unusual spectacle presents itself. Scores of the most delightful little animals and birds creep up and surround her. Rabbits, squirrels, deer, beavers, raccoons, etc. She opens her eyes and greets them with pleasure. They are so friendly and attractive. She tells her story, and they lead her to a little house, which she makes her home. Now these friendly birds and animals symbolize our intuitive leads or hunches, which are always ready to get you out of the woods. The little house proves to be the home of the Seven Dwarfs. Everything is in disorder, so Snow White and her animal friends begin to clean the house. The squirrels dust with their tails, the birds hang things up, using the little deer's horns for a hat rack. When the Seven Dwarfs come home from their work of digging gold, they discover the change, and at last find Snow White asleep on one of the beds. In the morning, she tells her story, remains with them to keep house and cook their meals, and is very happy. The Seven Dwarfs symbolize the protective forces all about us. In the meantime, the cruel stepmother consults her mirror, and it says to her, "Over the hills in the green wood shade, where the Seven Dwarfs their dwelling have made, there Snow White is hiding her head, and she is lovelier far, O queen, than thee." This infuriates the queen, so she starts off disguised as an old hag with a poisoned apple for Snow White. She finds her in the house of the Seven Dwarfs and tempts her with the big, red, luscious apple. The birds and the animals endeavor to tell her not to touch it. They try to give her the hunch not to eat it. They rush around in dismay, but Snow White can't resist the apple. She takes one bite and falls, apparently dead. Now all the little birds and animals rush off to bring the Seven Dwarfs to the rescue, but too late, Snow White lies lifeless. They all bow their little heads in grief. Then suddenly, the prince appears, kisses Snow White, and she comes to life. They are married and live happily ever after. The queen, the cruel stepmother, is swept away by a terrific storm. The old thought form is dissolved and dissipated forever. The prince symbolizes the divine plan of your life. When it wakes you up, you live happily ever after. This is the fairy story which has enthralled New York and the whole country. Find out what form of tyranny your cruel stepmother is taking in your subconscious. It is some negative conviction which works out in all of your affairs. We hear people saying, quote, "My good always comes to me too late," or "I've lost so many opportunities." We must reserve the thought and say repeatedly, "I am wide awake to my good. I never miss a trick." We must drown out the dreary suggestions of the cruel stepmother. Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom from these negative thought forms. Nothing can hinder, nothing can delay the manifestation of the divine plan of my life. Say that to yourself. Nothing can hinder, nothing can delay the manifestation of the divine plan of my life. The light of lights streams on my pathway, revealing the open road of fulfillment. God bless.